All right, I don't do many reviews on gear, but I'm gonna do one on probably one of my favorite delay pedals of all time. And I've had an assortment of the top name brand ones out there, but I always come back to this one because of how easy it is. Unfortunately, it does not have any presets, which would be kind of nice. But if you just want a straightforward delay and you're not really looking to do anything too crazy, but you want a really good sounding analog-ish delay tone, I would go with the Tech 21 Boost D.L.A. I'm going to show you a couple features of here that I really like. So bypass, I'm playing through a Mexican tele. I do have some compression on, and I'm going through a Dr. Z Carmen Ghia. So here's my bypass. Okay, so I'm going to go through the boost. I'm just going to turn it on. There's a couple buttons you need to know right off the bat. First, we have the trails button. That just is basically saying it's either a buffered kind of bypass on there. If I have the trails on, when I turn it off, it'll continue to play. So for instance, I turn it on. So let me turn the feedback up just a little bit, and I'll go through some of these other features here in a second. So you can hear how those trails keep going on when the pedal's off. Otherwise, when this button's off, it just kills it right when you hit the bypass switch. So if you have a solo or something and you hit it and then you want it off afterwards, that's good. So great option, and this is a very practical delay for gigging musicians who don't need anything super fancy and they just want that delay on and off, or you just want a specific sound. It can do just a little bit of everything. The next one would be the Triplets. Let's go through that feature here. I'll turn it off and you can hear this should just be straight quarter notes. Let me just tap. You do have a tap tempo button, which is also kind of nice. Kind of reminds me of the T-Rex replica, or whichever one that is. It just has a delay, and it's quite a bit cheaper than that one too. It has a tap tempo, I mean. So here we go. That should be 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Okay, so that's with the triplets off. With it on, you'll get the triplets. Same thing. 1, 2, 4, 2, 3. Okay, so there's your triplets. I tend to like that on and the trails on. I think that triplet button on there is one of the best features of it, and it's an easier controllable delay. Feedback, I guess, tempo. So I don't know what I'm saying there, but basically I like it on. I like the triplets to be on. So all together, one of the cool features about this, hence the name is the Boost, is I can turn this level up, and if I have a solo and I'm playing, let's say I'm playing chords, and I want to hit that, I'll turn the boost up, and then it'll set me above, especially, it doesn't matter, clean, distorted, whatever. It's quite a bit louder, and you can really dial it in for some extra kick. So whatever you want to do there. So the boost, I typically try to leave it just about as level with everything else, because sometimes I don't really need that extra one. So I'm going to start with the bottom row. I start with the level and the flutter. Now the flutter is going to sound more almost like a chorus attached to it, but what it's supposed to sound like is the fluttering of a tape delay. So if I turn it up, you'll be able to notice it a lot more. There you go. So you can really hear that tape kind of fluttery. It's almost a chorusy sound in a way too, like I said. So I kind of leave that up at noon. That way I have a little bit of that, and I'm not overkilling it on the effect there. So basically. Alright, those are the two features that aren't necessarily on every delay pedal out there, so I like to go over those first, especially the trails and the triplets. And so we covered the level and the flutter. Time is basically a hand, if you want to have a set time. I really don't see why you need that since you have a tap tempo. So if I did that, I pulled it back, you get that really fast. That's almost too fast. Like, who would use that? No one's going to use that. So maybe a little bit farther down. But again, I can bypass that by setting my tap tempo. So time just tells the delays how far apart to be from each other. Pretty straightforward. Tone, if you want it darker, if you want to have like long feedback times and sort of this dark tone in the back, just to sort of fill it out, which sounds kind of cool. Let's set a longer delay time. Now if I rolled that back up, you get that brighter, let's go the opposite direction, the brighter tone. See the difference between that? You don't hear as much, but you still have a lot of ambience when you roll back your tone knob. So for me, again, I kind of just keep it towards the, maybe like 11 o'clock-ish, 10 or 11 o'clock, just so I don't have so much of a bright delay tone going with my natural tone. Okay, next one is your feedback, and I think you should know feedback just stands for how many delays you have after your original tone. So, it doesn't tell you a number at how many, you just kind of dial it in. A lot, too much, and you'll start to get that, that repeating. This is how you know it's a digital delay. You can mess with the time. Okay, so that's, it's a digital delay when you can start to mess around with these different parameters and get that loop going like that. Actually, I'll be honest, I'm not sure if analog delays do that. I don't think they do. You can tell me if I'm wrong. So, feedback, I keep mine relatively on a short feedback. I don't need a whole lot of delay most of the time. And then the last one we didn't talk about is the mix, and that's just your wet and dry signal. So if you want, for some reason you don't want any delay when you turn on your delay pedal, you would turn your mix all the way back here. And if you want nothing but delays, turn it up all the way. I really don't see why either one of those is a good option. I always just keep it right at noon so you get a good mix of each. Or if you want a little less or a little more, but on the extremities, I don't see why you would need that. So, I have no affiliation with this company, but I really think that this is a great delay pedal. very easy to use, and it has a tap tempo right on there. So it kind of has a very analog sound. As you can hear, those trails sort of die off in an analog way. They get darker and browner, as they say, and just and they have that fluttery kind of tape sound. So that sounds really analog to me. Sounds great. I think you know, this pedal really is under the radar for a lot of people. But for the money, I think I'm not sure what they're going for now. I've had mine for about I'd say almost 5 years now, and like I said, I've tried and had just about everything else. But it's simple, easy to use, and if you want a longer delay time, you can do that as well. Turn the triplets off, and I can have that kind of long. Let me start that again and get rid of that. There we go, trails are off. So I'm going to set that again. So if you do the swells, you can get those cool ambient sounds. Okay, another one, this is what I like it for, is if you like a little bit of that slap back kind of sound, it's got that as well. So slapback, kind of a fun rockabilly sound. It's got the long delays. It's got everything in between. Go pick you up one of these. I think you'd be happy with it. All right, that'll do it.